All right, so it's Wednesday, March 5th, Finance Committee meeting, and tonight we're going to go over the sewer department. Come on up.
Hey guys, don't stop.
How are you?
All right.
I don't know if you had anyone new on the board.
Thank you, John.
Doesn't look that way, but
We do, he's not here.
no, he's not here.
Thank you.
First page is just a brief overview of the sewer system, infrastructure, things of that nature.
Thank you.
No problem. Like a lot of people ask us what we do, what we have at pump stations, what we have at pipes. First page is just an overview of that. Second page is zoomed version of our infrastructure in a map format. It's hard to see, but I think you get the gist of it. Third page is the biggest wild card in our budget. It is our annual bill from Brockton. Since we don't have our own wastewater treatment plant, we send 95% of our sewer effluent to Brockton, and 5% goes to Rockland. So our biggest wild card is trying to guess what Brockton's gonna charge us every year. And this is a rundown since 1991. As you can see, it increases every year. And the last bill we've received is for FY12. And we are expecting FY13's bill until about June, so it's kind of hard to budget for that. And we're working on FY15's budget. And we're not in receipt of FY13's Brockton charges. And final page, a lot of people ask us where we stand sewer rate-wise. This is a summary of some surrounding communities. This is based on yearly flows of the average household, which is about 90,000 gallons a year. And as you can see, we are still below average. The average user pays $640 a year. And the average overall is $757. So that's just a point of reference for you guys. Want to get into the budget now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to go through every line, or
Is that
just?
what you want me to do?
No, unless you want to.
You guys, it's up to you guys.
What we've been doing is just going through the highlights, the increases or the decreases.
All right.
If there's no change, then there's a need to go through it.
All right, let's just check it out. The electricity, for FY15, I increased it, sum of 2,400, just based on FY14 numbers. We run 12 pump stations, 2 flow meters, the office, and the garages, so it's based on what we've done so far. I expect that 36,000 will cover us for FY15.
Okay.
You don't want me to go through every line item?
No, just the ones with increases. So if we want to start with, so ours starts with salaries.
Salaries.
So it's a 1.04. Is that just,
Overtime.
okay. So just a little bump in overtime.
Yeah, we bumped up in overtime due to the fact this infrastructure's aging. Phone seems to ring more often. The pump stations are getting older. The pumps themselves are getting older, and we get called up more often than we have in the past. So that's just an estimate of overtime.
There's a decrease on the field superintendent,
Decrease in the field super.
like a third.
Mm,
It's,
From 2,400 to 1,600, is it a stipend maybe?
Yes,
okay.
yes. I don't know exactly what that stipend is off the top of my head.
Is it
Seasonal stipend.
field
Oh, on the
superintendent?
seasonal stipends?
Well, it says seasonal stipend budget appropriation, then under.
We used to have-
it's Superintendent, field superintendent.
All right, we used to have 3 people that collected the seasonal snowplow stipend. Now we only have 2.
Ah,
The one that used to collected, she moved.
That's
She was
right.
our executive assistant, she moved, she used to plow snow for the town for the highway, and she ended up moving to Maine. The current executive assistant doesn't plow
Trying
snow,
to get away
so.
from snow.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to plow snow, so she doesn't get the stipend, so that's why I reduced that $800.
And just, my understanding, John, is every position, well, just about every position, is in a collective bargaining unit, so the salaries and benefits are set by those government.
Most,
units.
yep.
There's no set increase in the highway sewer, they're in the same bargaining unit, there's no.
That's correct.
There's no set increase in the clerical agreement yet either, so that's why the stability in the numbers.
That's right.
Next is a decrease in health insurance incentive.
Health insurance incentive.
Looks like it went away.
Yes,
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
same exact thing.
Yeah, you touched on the electricity. An increase in repair and maintenance of 5 vehicles. So it went up
Yes,
$1,000.
just the vehicles are getting older, just my estimate,
Okay.
based on early FY14 numbers.
Okay.
Just bumped it up a little.
An increase in education, training, and license recertification.
Right, it seems, the specs to become renewed and recertified and with these licenses is becoming harder. You've got to take more classes, more CEUs, continuing education units, things of that nature. So we had to bump it up a little bit.
Postage went up 16%.
Right, the postage went up due to a increase in postage itself. I believe it went from, it went up 3 cents.
Yeah, 67 to 69, didn't it? I think?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, 50.
40,
67. No, never mind.
47.
Yeah, 46 to 49.
It's just, monthly bills, general mailing, demand letters. And
Okay.
the increase is due to the postage increase.
Office supplies are down 5%.
Just based on early FY14 numbers, I thought we could bump it down a little.
Fuel and oil for vehicles, generators, and equipment's up 30.5%.
Rise and increase in fuel. It's not only fuel for the vehicles, it's fuel for jetter, which is a pipe cleaner, Vector, which is just a giant vacuum, cleans up manholes. Pump station generators, we have 4 of them that run off of diesel, 5 of them that run off of diesel. And just generally based on the rise in cost of fuel and early estimates on FY14. Increased it $5,800.
Okay.
It seems that's what we're going to spend this year.
And then, of course, the wastewater treatment in Brockton and Rockland.
Right, as I alluded to earlier, it's a wild card, you know. We're not receiving FY13 charges as of yet, so budgeting for FY14, it's a guessing game. You know, I think that's a good number to go by.
John, what are the factors that go in? Obviously, volume.
Volume.
But what are the general factors that go
Our
in?
proportionate share at the wastewater treatment plant. For FY12, it was 6.37%. If that proportionate share rises, our cost will rise. And that can be anything from Brockton eliminating flow on their end, then our proportionate share increases, and our cost will increase.
So you
But
don't,
it's very hard to
know
predict.
that? You don't know that on an ongoing basis?
No.
Okay.
No. If they added people to the plant, like say another town, another municipality, it would lower our proportionate share, and that would be less. But trying to predict that for FY15, very difficult. You know?
And they won't let you go cross-country either to cut down?
No, we tried that. We tried that.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of negotiations with the city of Brockton right now. We got another number of factors, but can't really speak on it because it might be going to litigation. So I was told to keep it quiet. But as you can see, it's it's kind of a guessing game. You know, we average probably $365 million a year over Brockton. You know, so, and Rockland, 55,000 gallons a day we send them. That includes both.
total 3.73%, so that's the end of that. Barbara, I know you've been,
I just wanted,
Nancy.
if you can just explain the, just for anyone that hasn't heard it before, how it's the number of feet, right, that go, we have to pay for, we also pay for the
Transport
line,
fee?
right, the transport,
Yes, we
thank you.
don't own our own infrastructure to the plant of, to the city of through the city of Brockton to the plant. We don't own our infrastructure. So in 1998, via amendment number 3, we owe Brockton what's called a transport fee every year based on our flow, how much of their pipe we use, and a number of different factors. And as you can see, it's on the spreadsheet,
It
rises
is.
every year.
So, as far as like the negotiations, does that have anything to do with that? Okay, all right. That was my big question.
There's a number of different issues on the table.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to ask an obvious question.
Sure.
Okay, so if it's based on the number of feet between the towns, et cetera, and the flow, how can it increase if it's a set number of feet?
Based on flow and proportionate
Okay, so
share.
it adds in with the flow and everything
Exactly,
else.
it's this
that goes
convoluted
on.
formula that they
Just
use every
wanted to
year.
clarify.
So if
That's what we're trying to
Brockton,
get away from. We're trying to get a more basic formula that you can sit and look at. The formula that they use now is just convoluted, very difficult to understand.
if Brockton's better about their waste, then our proportion goes up.
Correct, that's the problem.
And you have no way to predict whether the people in Brockton are gonna all of a sudden,
We used to, our
be-
proportionate share used to be in the 4s, but Brockton did a lot of I&I work,
Mhm.
repairing their pipes, the leaking pipes, lowering their flow, which makes our proportionate share go up.
right.
Our gallons didn't go up, our proportionate share went up, therefore our treatment and transport fees went up. So that's the biggest wild card. But we're working on a number of things with the city, so hopefully we can come to an agreement soon, and we'll have news for everybody.
And there's no place else to
No, we've
run
done
that. Rockland,
studies
some of
about
it goes to Rockland, right?
5%.
But just a really small amount, and there's no place else
There isn't.
around that,
There isn't, every other town is in the same boat,
where does Whitman go to?
Brockton. But via direct connect, they don't have a transport fee.
Gotcha.
1972, they ran their own infrastructure. We didn't, but none of us will hear them, so.
Well, Rick might have been.
I was a patrolman.
Yeah, you
In
were,
fact, that's the
yeah.
year I,
Didn't you see that coming?
it's the year my daughter was born.
what, is there any effort, maybe it's a dumb question, I mean, are we doing anything to try and reduce our flow?
Every day.
Okay.
It's a huge part of our job, our field staff's job, looking for what's called I&I. Manhole leaks, pipe leaks, people with sump pumps tied into the sewer system, which is not supposed to do, everyone on this board knows that, I think. Things of that nature, roof drains tied into the sewer system, it's a huge part of our job, but it's like looking for a needle in a haystack,
Mm.
very difficult. We'll inspect 500 homes a year, maybe more, and we'll be lucky to find one illegal sump pump.
And that's through smoke testing and,
That's through walking into their basement. And
Okay.
You know, but all it takes for us to leave, and they do the same
Back
thing.
in.
Hey, Sean.
Sean, just forgive me for 2 seconds. I think it's commerce in general, that you just described, trying to figure out what they're gonna charge.
Correct.
It's something that seems remarkably unorthodox with the process, and this is just more of a commentary than I say. Probably just 2 questions, compound, but 2 questions nonetheless. The commentary would be is, do you know if anybody from your board had attended the Water Commission meeting in Brockton? I think it was last Wednesday.
Water Commission meeting?
So Brockton's had, the rate setting meeting was last Wednesday, and part of that rate setting deals with what they charge us.
Our flow is not based on their water meters, our flow is.
On other water, they both just reading their, I was in the Enterprise, I was just reading the Enterprise article, it just happened to say they were talking about water and sewer rates. They were saying they were doing a rate setting meeting last Wednesday.
No, we're in separate negotiations with them, we have probably 2 meetings a month with them. We have been for the past year.
Yeah, no, it was more of a question with regards to, I'm trying to understand the treatment costs. If based on the gallons that we output, and you notice how it increases based on the spreadsheet you had
Mhm.
produced for us, which is very helpful. There are 2 different cost factors that you mentioned. One's the treatment piece, one's the transport fee.
Correct.
You know, it seems the treatment cost ebbs and flows, more or less, right? Kind of.
It does.
We had a watershed year between 2010 and 2011. We saw a 32% increase in that cost rate. It went from 0.98 to 1.3. And then the difference between 11 and 12 was negligible, 2.31. The transport fee was the biggest variable that you have to fret about. What I'm trying to get my mind around is the proportionate share calculation piece. Is that I can appreciate if Plant A happens to treat 500 gallons a year, and Abington is static with its gallon production, and we'll say it's 400 gallons, and Abington has a proportionate share of 80% of the cost of operations. So with that stated, I'm trying to, if I were to linearly back into what our anticipated cost is, since we have a great command and control of knowledge of what our cubic feet are per year, we know what we put out to them every year.
We do.
It just seems to me that we might be able to, your best guess is my question. Have you done your best guess for 14 and 15? I know 14's already in the budget.
Right. That is my number right there.
Well, I think 2000, I don't actually have that piece of paper in front of me, so I don't know what your 14 actual guess from last year. What seems weird to me, honestly, is to be in arrears always and never know what I'm gonna pay, but be on the hook for having to pay for something. So every time I take a shower, I'm thinking to myself, I have no idea how much this is costing me. And that would drive me insane.
Yes, we've discussed that with the city. There's really nothing we can do about that. We won't get the FY13 charges until June of this year when the audit is done.
So maybe this is just I guess it's exclusively with you. It just seems weird that a city has the right to charge us whatever they darn well please without us having any recourse, fair, equal, or otherwise, to say that doesn't seem right or appropriate.
It was an amendment in 1998 to the intermunicipal agreement. It's written, it's law, and that's what we're trying to change right now.
That's the negotiations you were referencing.
Exactly.
The municipal agreement.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, to be fair, there's also, was court action filed by the sewer department, the town of Abington, that has helped precipitate these discussions.
Exactly.
So that's why John's being as careful as he is.
So that makes better sense when you mentioned the intermunicipal agreement and movements.
In 1998, we gained 500,000 more gallons, and we signed up for what is now this transport fee that you see in the spreadsheet.
Right.
And we're trying to work on a new IMA right now.
Do you mind? And I know you and I had this discussion a little bit about real estate. One of the issues that you pointed out earlier was the cost associated, not significant, but a little bit of the aging infrastructure.
Right.
Well, can you explain a little bit what the infrastructure plan you have or?
Capital plan,
What's the?
The capital plan, the sewer system was installed in phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. The life expectancy of manholes and pump stations and appurtenances of that nature is about 30 years. And some of the manholes and pump stations starting to get to that age. So in the capital plan that we submitted, we're gonna do some work to the manholes, upgrade the pumps, some of the pump stations, a little bit per year.
And is it the intent to try and utilize borrowings or to pay as you go through retained earnings?
Retained
by the
earnings.
town?
Sewer undesignated, things of that nature. So the last thing we wanted to do was raise the rates for anyone. That's the initial plan anyway.
I think we actually went over that either a year or two ago.
Right, we might have gone over a lot of this stuff, but I wasn't sure if there were new people on the board, so I printed it out
Oh,
anyway.
that's helpful.
Okay.
Right,
Does anybody have anything else?
I do not.
Thank you.
All right, no problem, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
No problem. Have a good day.
Thank you, too.
You too.
So moving down the agenda, we have a reserve fund transfer request.
Yes, we do. Dory?
you want me to take it?
Please.
Okay, thank you. We have a reserve fund transfer request for animal control. He was budgeted in FY14. We really slashed the budget for FY14, so he had $500 for expenses for the entire FY14. So to date, he's spent $500 in gasoline alone. So that wiped out his expenses. He's had some repairs that we were able to fund out of other, actually, line items within the whole. And so the status of it now is there's a bill that can't be paid, $31, but there'll be gas expenses necessary for the rest of the fiscal year. So we were hoping for a transfer of about $500 to his budget to get him through. That would get him through the gasoline necessary, and then if any other repairs were necessary for the van, would get him through. And the reason is because we really slashed that budget last year. And he just has a $500 operating expense. And we're really lucky because we don't have kennel fees, we don't pay for the food, he gets donated from Walmart.
We share
so
him too, don't we, with
we share, yeah, we have, yeah, Whitman has the kennel.
It's not, yeah, well, he's technically individually employed, he's not a regional officer, so to speak.
He's
But
a-
yeah,
in effect, it's,
We,
we do share.
yeah, he's paid salary through the town of Abington. And, but he does both towns. So he is a little bit strapped.
Right. The other consideration here too is that it's not out of the question that next week the selectmen will be voting to move the dates of town meeting like they did last year. Last year, they moved the annual town meeting to June, still held the special town meeting in April, and then there was lack of quorum, postponed that till June anyway, so to forestall that same type of situation, it's not out of the question that there won't be the opportunity in April to do interdepartment transfers, and we'll be looking to do that through the selectmen and the FinCom in May, through the authority allowed by statute there, so we may be going a little bit longer than we anticipated without having any expense money at all in that department. So whether it's 500, whether it's 250, if the finance committee could at least just leave a little money there so that we're not in arrears, and especially if we have to make some payment to Whitman or intermunicipal bill or something. That's
What's
so
in the
that's
fund
all.
now?
That's all. So.
How much is left in the fund right now?
Right now, there is $25 with a
No,
bid.
in the reserve fund.
Oh, in the reserve fund?
Yeah. Okay,
Like I said,
that'd be great.
Make a motion that we approve $500 transfer for the animal control.
I'll second.
All those in favor? No, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have it on the form?
Pardon me?
Do you have the request on the form?
No. We have it, but not, we'll have it tomorrow.
we'll take care of it, so it's not hard.
Do you have that, because Chad needs to sign that, right?
Yes. Yeah, we'll have it for you to sign, yep.
Okay. I can swing in tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
No major.
Late tomorrow.
It's not a situation where we have a bill today, but
Oh,
maybe a bill tomorrow. It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
I noticed I went past the selectman office budget, sorry.
Yeah, that was last night.
Okay. It's on there.
You probably.
This is all confused.
Well, Deb Libby explained to me that that was there, in essence, to reflect upon the reserve fund request. So I did not argue with her. And they did point that out, question that, but unless you have any further questions with regard to that budget, we're
Nope.
more than happy to explain.
I think we covered it. Moving down the agenda, I'm going to skip right over it. Liaison reports. I have one. I had been asked to ask some questions as the Council on Aging liaison, and I figure it's easier if I just distribute their responses. And do what you want with them. It's really long, and I don't want to read the whole thing.
Do you have a copy for Deb?
Give us a
for the
summary.
minutes?
They're really long. I will go through them then. So the first question was, what is the value of their revolving account from rental/building maintenance? Suzanne had replied, it's approximately $8,000. That took 4 years to acquire 12. They've got it down to 8 now. Question 2 was on the average amount of rentals per month. And that varies considerably month to month. The Defenders rented 21 times per year for 2-hour practices and 14 days for 4-hour practices. Goes into their rates, which leads into that question 1. The third question was if food-related events are held there, is there a serve-safe certified person? Yes, there is. Question 4 was regarding early morning classes or off-hour classes or rentals, and regarding the rates, if they're paid the same as normal hours. I don't really have an answer on that. If anyone wants some more questions on it, we can talk about it next meeting. And put me a copy for the minutes.
That's one right there.
You sure?
All right, take it. See the minutes in July.
No minutes to review. Correspondence, there was none. And I want to talk about the next meeting. So next week, we need to meet with VOTEC. And then we need to start talking about any articles. Do you know how many, were there any submitted, any petition?
There were some petition articles, yep,
Okay.
and some articles. So we'll have Monday night, we planned before the Board of Selectmen to review the draft special and annual town meeting warrant. So we'll have it available Monday.
Okay. Do you know how many petitioners there are? Just so we can start planning backwards to bring them in.
Oh, there's one petitioner for the Community Preservation Act. Another petition article for New Day, which is the $5,000 request, which we also have in the budget at $4,000. And off the top of my head, those are the petitions. But I will get that I'll have a better sense of it at the end of the week, and as soon as I have something draft, I'll send it right out to you
Okay. So maybe next week,
and
if
schedule.
we'll just do one meeting on Wednesday. Does that sound?
And we will invite the South Shore VOTEC. I'm not sure, you know, there obviously some confusion there, so we'll get that major issue done. And as I mentioned earlier, the board will be discussing Monday their thoughts on a delay to the annual town meeting. And I think unlike last year, the sense I get is that if they're gonna do that, they would also do that for the special town meeting.
Just do it in one meeting.
Exactly, so that we're not dragging everybody's collective time and energy down the drain so,
Money,
Yeah.
yeah.
because it costs to
Money, yeah.
get the janitor, open the school,
Mhm.
set up the chairs, get the counters.
Right.
Right.
So are we thinking of doing it all in one?
Well, that's actually what you did last year.
Mm-hmm.
You had a special town meeting, and we've been piecing this together, by the way. A special town meeting scheduled for April 22nd, at which time you were also going to hold the annual town meeting initially, and then the board had voted to move that into June. So the only thing you were showing up for was a special town meeting, and you didn't get a quorum for that special, so there was a motion to move that meeting to the same date as the annual, so at least the goal will be trying to put it all together so that we're all doing it on the same night, because let's face it, other than a few money issues and a few mop-up things on the special, those usually don't take very long, so.
Can I ask,
That's the plan.
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, was your intent to have the petitioners here at the same time as South Shore VOTEC, to do it in one night?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just want to start planning for that then.
Okay, but
So
I'll
we-
get you that information tomorrow.
I
as
think
far as
we,
the
that's the
petitioners.
stuff that we can wrap up.
Yeah.
And then start digging into the budget once we finish meeting with
Yeah,
everybody.
okay, I can get you that
So I just want
tomorrow.
to start looking out for
Sure.
that.
Yeah, good idea.
I know everybody wants to plan their schedule and know if we're doing one meeting, 2 meetings, 7 meetings a week.
Seth?
7 days.
You say 7?
So I see who was listening.
Well, you can do more than one a day.
Morning and evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
A whole Saturday.
So if you can get back to me and then I'll get to everybody else if Wednesday doesn't work for VOTEC.
Okay.
So now we'll just plan for that until we hear different.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the next
Confirm that
meeting-
tomorrow.
We Wednesday the 12th. Anybody have anything else? Does anybody have a motion? Rick?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor? Thank you.
When Deb's not here, we really have to line up long nights for
Minutes?
Yeah.
to get-
No, don't do that.